Another reason why I'm out here. To hear the birds, they sound happy. Hey kings and queens, it's your girl Zoe Sunshine here with a brand new episode. For those of you who are new to my channel, welcome. We are all about living, loving, and laughing as much as we possibly can, because even though we hear it a lot, we truly only have one life to live. And for those of you who are who are my regular kings and queens, like what's up, how was your week? I hope that you guys, in general, everybody, I hope that you guys are good wherever you are. Thank you so much for the continuous love and support. I love you guys. Thank you. Before moving forward, let's talk about last week's video of the week, featuring my girl Chan, and also she featured Alex Cage, who are both Barbadian artists. I really enjoyed this cover. It was excellent. The feel, the vibe, yes. Let's give it a thumbs up. I'm gonna link it in the description below, so check out the full video if you haven't. And here's a little snippet so that you can see what it's about.
All mine, you're all mine, you're all mine. Just remember you belong to me. You're all mine, you're all mine, you're all mine. Anytime you'll see, trapped in the middle, gotten away with nonsense. I just can't clear my conscience of what I did to you.
Welcome back. So let's get started on this week's video. Are you ready? Here are 9 tips for you, me, everybody to get back your power. We are always in our head. We're always overthinking everything, and we are our toughest critics and sometimes our enemy when we don't need to be. And it might be because of our surroundings, or because we don't want to be judged or feel excluded from something. These tips are to help you, especially if you feel like you don't have a voice. If you feel like every time you want to say something, every time you want to stand up for yourself, you can't because you feel powerless. And I completely understand what that's like. Like recently, for me, right now, I am going through a lot, as we all are, and we all handle things differently. And dealing with my situation, I didn't handle it the best that I could. It took my energy. I worried, going back to last week's video, I worried and I beat up on myself a lot about this situation. And I felt powerless. I felt out of control. I felt like there was nothing that I could do to gain that confidence. Going back to week 1's video, guys, are you feeling me? Right. So I thought about this long and hard. And before you gain that confidence, before you worry less or stop worrying, you have to know that you have the power within you. It's in your core. You have to believe in you. So, tip 1, we have to set aside time for self-love. A lot of people, I feel like they put themselves on the back burner because they're afraid of offending others, including those that they hold close to their heart. And you are not allowing yourself to be your best you by sacrificing your values, by sacrificing your boundaries. You're not being you. You're being who that person wants you to be. So, what I think you need to do, or what we need to do, is allow ourselves to learn about who we are. So take the time to sit down and be like, who am I? What am I about? What are my likes and what are my dislikes? There's some people out there who are visual. So even if you decided that you are going to create a chart online, or you're going to say, get an old image of yourself and then say, this is who this person is. And then you're going to get a new image. And then you're going to be like, okay, this is who this person wants to be, or this is who this person can be. That could also help you with your self-love. I think another thing would be to identify the traits or the skills within yourself that make you feel powerful. So for me, example, this is one thing that I feel powerful about and that makes me feel powerful. Singing is another thing, acting is another thing, photography is another thing, drama. I already said acting. Oops. Not drama, anime, and watching a really good TV show. I already mentioned these things to you guys. You know what it is. Tip 2. Another thing that we need to do is establish our boundaries. When you create these boundaries, it allows you to understand what you stand for, understand what you value. And it also shows what you can tolerate and what you won't tolerate. And people, when they realize that these are your boundaries, they would know what's up. And then another thing is that when somebody crosses that boundary, even though you said it to them once or twice, and they still continue to cross that boundary, then if you let them get that far, to be honest, then you have to make a decision on what you would do when these boundaries have been crossed. So if somebody disrespects you by saying something that you don't like to hear, and you say to them, I would really appreciate if you don't say this word around me, and they still continue to do it, even though you said to them, I don't like it. Obviously there's some people who, because they're so accustomed to saying a word so many times, it's become habitual. But if they are truly your friend, if they really care about you, they're going to make an effort not to say that. So then you have to decide what you're going to do if this issue or this boundary continues to be crossed and how you feel about it. Then with that, we have to remember why we created those boundaries. So this is important. You are important. Tip 3, let it go. Let it go. And this is something that I am working on every single day, because there are things that get to me and I'm just like, Husa. But letting it go, you have to first understand why it's bothering you so much. We also have to be mindful of who we give our energy to. So if you've decided that you're not going to give your energy to this person because they're toxic, but at the same time you don't want to be rude, then you could also make that decision that anytime you see that person in public, that you would keep your conversations small. That's very helpful, because I know some people that just focus your energy on the future. Write notes if you have to, journal if you have to. There are tons, I keep saying this all the time, but there are tons and tons of information out there if you need guidelines, if you need a little help. Tip 4, we need to, and this is a big tip, but we need to improve on our self-confidence. Yes, I know that it's hard, especially with life and how it keeps throwing things at you, but how life keeps throwing things at you is also an opportunity for you to work and build each and every single day on who you are and your self-confidence. Okay, try complimenting yourself when you have achieved a goal or a task that you set out to do. So, for example, I wanted to film this today. Even though I might have felt a little down, I was like, I need to get this done. So when I'm done this, I'm gonna be like, you did it. Yay, you did it. So when you do something that, you know, like it might have taken you a while, but at least you did it. So give yourself that pat on the back or that thumbs up and just like see the positive and not the negative. Tip 5. Do you know what an affirmation is? The Oxford Dictionary says, affirmation, the action or process of affirming something or being affirmed. We're going to use these affirmations, these positive words, positive thinking. For example, like, you are beautiful, you are smart, you are creative, to help us to get through. Because for you, saying those things out loud, saying who you are, what you are to yourself, nobody else can tell you, because you know who you are. With affirmations, we have to repeat it to ourselves every day. Every single day, repeat it to yourself in order to get your power back. So even if after or before you take a shower, you look into the mirror, before you start your day, you look into the mirror and you say, I am a king or I am a queen, I am beautiful, I am handsome, I rock. You know, like those type of things. It will allow you to reprogram the way that you think when you do it daily. Tip 6, your exit plan. Now, a lot of us are stuck or feel stuck in situations that we don't have to be in. What we need to do is acknowledge what the situation is. Don't blame yourself for it. There's some things that are out of our control. So acknowledge what your situation is and think about your exit plan. Think about what your next step is so that you don't have to be in that situation anymore. So for example, if you're in a toxic relationship and no matter how hard you fight, no matter what you do, it feels like the pain is never ending. It feels like it's causing you more hurt than good. Then you have to decide. It is your choice, your right to make that decision for yourself to leave. If you know that you have given it your best and you can't anymore because it's either emotionally draining, physically draining, or mentally draining, or all three, then you make the decision to leave. The thing about that, because you have used your power of choice, you won't feel trapped. We all have the power within us, so don't be afraid to use it. Tip 7. This is about practicing your mindset. All of these tips are really important, but I mean, the main thing in everyone, the common denominator is you. And it's going to take a lot of work. It's going to take a lot of practice. It's going to take a lot of you not giving up on yourself. So we have to practice to have a better way of thinking, a more positive way of thinking. Now, if you have left a sticky situation or an uncomfortable situation or a situation that's not healthy for you, then take the time to detox. Take the time to remember who you are, what you're about. So this is all about self-love. For me, there are negatives and positives to counseling, just like almost everything else that you do in your life. And I will be honest and say, you know, the hardest thing in counseling was to put all of your feelings out there, to say what you're thinking, to relay your deepest and darkest thoughts about yourself, and then to talk about all the things in the past that have hurt you. But a positive is that once you've gotten it out, once you have allowed yourself to take that step, you are allowing yourself to start healing. You are acknowledging everything that you've been through, And you're also saying to yourself, this is who I was, and who I want to be is not that person. So I'm moving forward into a better way, into a better me. Creativity. Like, there are tons of poems, tons of songs, tons of paintings. There's so many ways that you can get that energy out, that you can put it into something else, something more creative. So my tip is to explore those different ways. Whether you are a dancer, a singer, an actor, a writer, whoever you are, there are other ways to get that energy up. How about getting some inspiration? You know me, I love my Pinterest. So there's not only Pinterest though, there's YouTube, there's going into your neighborhood, there are your friends who inspire you. Tip 9, do the flip-flop. Do things differently. So if you're accustomed to doing something one way, try doing it another way. So if you are somebody who is more emotional when it comes to certain situations, try being more logical. Maybe you give your power by being too emotional. So try doing the opposite. I watched something. I can't remember what exactly it was because it was a couple of years back. But I remember watching something where this person changed up their routine from putting their pants on first to putting their shirt on first and then their pants. And it totally shifted their way of thinking, their way of flowing, their way of moving. Because it was like, oh, I'm doing something different. This is so out of the norm. Or like if you brush your teeth with your left hand, try brushing your teeth with your right hand. Do the flip-flop. Let's have the courage to get our power back, to be strong and to be the kings and queens that we are.